This video demonstrates how to use my Butch's financial planning spreadsheet. And it's kind of fun to use. And there's some hoops you got to jump through for everything to work. But this is the very first thing you do to access all the information in the spreadsheet. First, you log on to your Google account. You have to have a Google account before any of this works. So I'm logged on to the account, my A.V. Franklin account, which is kind of a junk account I have. And open the link I have in this video, and that link will take you to this sheet. And this is what it looks like. And you notice it opens in view only. Nothing works. You can't make any edits. Can't do anything. And the reason for that is I don't want everybody stepping on each other's toes. So what you have to do is make a copy of this spreadsheet in your own Google account. And the way you do that is come up here to File, make a copy, and I don't want a copy of that. You can name this anything you want. I'll just name it Butch's financial planning spreadsheet. Make sure to know the junk at the end of it. And I'm going to store it in my drive. Now, my AV account has a lot of folders in it, and if you don't have anything in your Google folder, you can just click OK, but I want to take it to the next level here because my drive, and I want it to go to my spreadsheets folder. I think this is the spreadsheets folder right there. And I select, and I click OK. And what this is doing is loading it to your personal accounts, my drive. And now then, you have access to this thing. So you can click things. But the very first thing we have to do is enable the macros to work. And the macros are called whenever you click on a button. And all buttons look like this, big, small. And we're going to click on the very first button in the spreadsheet. So it comes up here, it says running script, cancel, dismiss. And this will grind away for a little bit because you don't have access to it. And after it's done grinding, it comes up here with authorization required. Click continue. And choose an account. Well, you want to choose your email account. In my case, it's A.V. Franklin. In your case, it may be Gene Franklin. This screen comes up and says, this app is not verified. And the reason for that is I didn't verify this with Google to make sure that I have code that'll wipe out your hard drive or blow up your motherboard. But trust me, I didn't do that, so we'll go to Advanced. And then we scroll down. And it says, go to Open Sheets Unsafe. Well, I haven't blown up my hard drive yet, so I trust myself, so I'm going to click this. If you don't trust me, don't click this. And you're out of danger. So I click go to Open Sheets. Come down here like that. And you get this last menu here. I click the Allow button. What this does is create an add-on in your Google account. And voila, the sheet opens. Simply amazing. And notice all the buttons will work now. And this is a one-time deal. And that's all there is to getting your macros to work. Now we're going to look at the left-hand column here, column A, and I'm going to show you how to access links. Google Sheets is kind of funny about links, and you pretty much have to go about this. You notice I have the full-blown YouTube instructions, which I'm making now, so don't have access to that. But we do have access to Butch's investment documents. And when I get all these instruction videos done, you'll have links for each one of these functions that can be performed in the spreadsheet. So right now I'm going to show you how to access these links. So you just click on the link you want to access, and notice above that it's got this window right here. And when you click on that, it opens the link. And notice that they open in a new tab every time. And this is true of the YouTube videos, instructional videos, as well as the documentation. Any documents I had over there in column A. Right now, this is all I've got. And this is my FOS investment strategy document that I've written for my wife. So when I'm gone, she'll financial advisor won't try to jack her around. And that's all there is to it. Now I want to talk about sheet protection. And regretfully, I couldn't do this the way I wanted to, because you have to have right access to all these sheets or else nothing works. So I just want to tell you not to make any entries in these sheets unless you see these light green cells. And let me show you what happens if you see every one of these have formulas. And some of these formulas and some of the sheets are pretty complex, and you don't want to overwrite them, or else you wipe out your spreadsheet. And you have to go back through the step of downloading it like we described here in the first video. And that's no fun, so just be careful. Now, if you do try to type something in a sheet that you shouldn't, like I'll try to make an entry here, it'll give you a heads up. Say, hey, don't do this. You might really do some damage. So you just click the cancel button and you're home free. If you do, like this one right here, is making a very important call, and I type over it, and I accidentally hit the OK button, that formula is wiped out. Absolutely wiped out. But if you catch yourself, you can press Control-Z and get it back. But if you go on, you'll probably wipe out the sheet and have to re-download the whole thing. Now I'm going to take you to one of the more complex sheets I've got here. I think this is the only one you do a lot of entries right. You do a lot of entries in this sheet. And again, it gives you a warning. Only make entries in the light green cells. And there's the light green cells down there, and you can make entries in the light green cells down here. And you'll see I can type in 20,000 here for a yearly withdrawal on this, and it just takes it with no problem. But if you try to type in here, it'll give you a heads up that you're wiping out a formula. And in case you're wondering about the formula you would wipe out if you did type in that cell, look at that nasty thing. And all of these cells that you see here have nasty formulas very similar to this. so you don't want to wipe them out. And that's just about all there is to it. Now I want to talk about the buggy Google Sheets application with buttons. And I got a real good example of it right here, where you see this button's out of place. And sometimes they really get wacky. And it's very easy to fix. All you have to do is hit the F5 key. And it puts everything back in the way it should be. And that's all there is to. Don't try to move these buttons on your own or you may get in trouble. So anytime they get out of whack, and it usually only happens whenever you're dealing with this sheet right here and you're making entries. Anytime you make entries, the buttons may get out of whack. I'll make an entry here, go back to the main sheet. And it did, sure enough. You see it went out of whack. So you just press the F5 key, and it reloads the page, and everything's back in order again. And that's all there is to that. The limitations of this application, and it has plenty of limitations. But since I'm retired and I don't work for a corporation anymore, I'm not going to spend 9 months writing error checking for the app. I'm not sure it could anymore anyway, but I'm getting kind of senile in my old age. I will show you the limitations we have. The big one is, of course, sheet protection. You can really step on yourself if you're not careful. And also, your entries in these green cells. Now, don't make any entries unless you see one of these light green cells, but you can enter in bogus information. And the only error checking I provide for you are these little messages out here. It will allow you to make bad entries, but it will warn you, and that's just the best I can do with my limited knowledge about things. It's like this one right here. Suppose you put this date before. Let's make that 1/2000. And notice it will come back and tell you date values must be entered. Also, and that shows you how limited my warnings are, but at least it did tip you off what you might have done wrong. And when you put this back to a reasonable date, I got 1/20/30, that error message goes away. And the limitation I really don't understand is this particular one right here. This is the only sheet that I allow any editing other than the main sheet. And of course, we have to have that. We compute what our actual gains are in the account where we're making withdrawals. So what I do here is I warn you. Only make entries in the green sheets and also press the F5 key. I'm not sure what that is on a Mac, but you have to refresh this sheet before you enter back. So I'll press the F5 key to refresh it. And then I can go back to the main sheet. And notice our buttons are all in the right place. Now watch what happens if I don't do that. Come in here, and all I do is go back. And see my buttons are all over the place. And of course you can still fix it by pressing the F5 key here. And that'll fix the problem, but I have no idea why it does that. But all I can say is Google Sheets is free. It's still messed up. Here it finally straightened itself out. And it's free, and I don't understand what's going on. And I've searched the web, and there's other folks that have the same problem I've had. And we just do the best we can with free software. Grateful for what we've got here. You heard me talk about my view presidential administration economic performance 1970 to 2018. And I really enjoy this particular sheet. And the way you examine this information is just click on this top button right here. And there it opens up. And here you can look at all the information I've gathered from the U.S. government official site. It's got the U.S. dollar value at 1970, inflation rate, unemployment rate, misery rate, which I calculated by Jimmy Carter's formula. It really wasn't his, but we're going to give him credit for it because he brought it to the public's attention. Percent increase national debt, percent increase GDP growth, prime rate, CD rate, maximum for the year, and your income related to 1970, and inflated income. And you can just look through these numbers. I've tried to color code whenever we had an administration change. And you can see here that Lyndon Johnson was a big spender, Great Society, and financed the Vietnam War. And his last year of service here, you can see what happened. Unemployment jumped, misery rate went up, and you can see what Richard Nixon inherited here and how he dealt with it. And you just go down through here and examine all these and make your own decision on how great a president we had. I'm a conservative libertarian, but I have to admit Bill Clinton, in my opinion, was the best president we've ever had as far as knowing how to handle the economy. And you can look at these numbers and see why you think I feel that way. And I think Obama might have been one of the worst as far as being a good economic president. And you can look at these numbers and see why I might feel that way. And you can see what a mess Trump inherited from the national debt growth in this column right here where my cursor is going. And Lord only knows what's going to happen here. We just about used every trick we can think of as far as trying to stimulate the economy by borrowing money, more money, and cutting taxes and everything else. And so this is really an interesting thing to look at. This video demonstrates how to use my income checker. And notice right here on this cell, I have income checker. And then I have data from 1970 to 2018. And as I said in my limitations video, I don't have a whole lot of error checking in this spreadsheet. Let's say we want to check data in 1970 to 2018. And I'm going to see how the price of a McDonald's hamburger has increased over the years. See how accurate the government's figures are. So back in 1970, you could buy a hamburger at McDonald's for 15 cents. And I'm just hitting the arrow right key here to get the next cell. And notice a 15-cent hamburger in 1970 now costs $1. That's pretty daggone close. And I know in 1970, my father made $10,000 a year as a top teacher. So I type in 10,000 there, hit the arrow right key. And Dale, I don't know how close that is. I imagine it's pretty close for a top teacher in Indiana. So that's how that works. And if you're curious to see the entire table, it shows how incomes have changed. It gives the presidents. And here's the initial income that shows you how it's gone year by year by the government's figures. Check this last column here and see how incomes are done. So you don't have to enter that 100 times. You just go to the sheet and look if you wish. And that's all there is to income checking. Now we're going to demonstrate how to see how CDs or certificate of deposits have performed over the years. Again, you can take this any way you want to go. And I wanted to show you my very weak error checking. Entered some bogus data here on purpose. And notice here I entered a date beyond where I have data for, and it'll give you this warning, but that's just about it. So you have to be pretty careful what you enter in these green cells. And what we're going to do first is we're going to take a look at CDs from 1970 to 2018. And hopefully when I enter that in, oh, see, I can't type, and it'll let me know I couldn't type. I'll make that 2018. And my error message goes away. So if someone would have invested $50,000 in CDs in 1970, it'd be worth over $1 million right now. And look what the average return on CDs from 1970 to 2018 have been. I know my dad was in the golden era of making money on CDs. But you take me, I retired in 2005. And if I look at the returns of CDs since 2005, so if I would have invested $50,000 in a CD in 2005, it'd only be worth about $70,000 right now. And needless to say, my wife and I would be out begging on the street. So we have to look at investing in a whole different manner than our parents did. At least my parents did. You take my dad, his prime earning years ran from 1980 to 1995. Let's see how he'd have done. And look at the return CDs made through the golden period right there. So Dad would have invested in the same number of years I've been retired as he had more than doubled his money, almost quadrupled his money, where I would have only made a few extra dollars. So CDs are pretty much out of the question for us baby boomers. And if you want to see how the entire table, how these behave, I do have an amortization table here. It shows how much money you make each year given I've got it here somewhere, maximum CD rate. And look at these numbers under the Reagan administration. And boy, as soon as it started going down under the Clinton administration, but they're still making pretty good money given the rate of inflation we were going through right there. So that's how you use this sheet, and this is a fun one to examine. This video will demonstrate how we compute the future value of savings making monthly payments. And this is really for people, young guys. Old guy like me I don't have enough time left to make any money. But this will show you how, if you're a young person, how you can use this particular sheet to see how much money you'll make for stashing away certain monthly installments. So we'll just leave this data pretty much as it is, keep this video short. We're going to start saving 119, and we're going to end the savings date in 1/20/30. And notice you have to have these dates in this format or it'll blow up. You actually can't make this 1/1/2030 and it'll still work. If you type it right, 1/1/2030. There we go. And it automatically converts it to this, so we get a consistent reading. Now it shows we'll be making, and say you don't have a penny yet. I'll just put a 0 on there. And we're going to make 132 payments of $1,021. It shows you what you'd have in that time period after it comes up. And again, for this, I have an amortization table where we can come over here and see what's happening month by month. It shows you your initial investment here in this black cell and takes you through month by month what your savings are, and it shows you the accrued interest you're making as you go along here. And this sheet, it can have an awful lot of data to scroll up to get to the top of the page. So I'll put our shortcut button up here. And with how you use it, you just click on any cell and click that. It'll take you right to the top of the page, and then you can access this back to main sheet. And you're in business. And that's all there is to this. And as I've said before, I don't understand why these sheets behave like that. These buttons get scrambled. But when they do, just refresh the screen. And on Linux and a PC, you just press the F5 key. And you Mac guys don't know what to do. And notice how I put the buttons right back in place. And if anyone has an answer, please leave a comment. Thank you very much. This video will show how to use, do you have enough money to retire? And we scroll down here till we find that. And there it is right there. Do you have enough money to retire? Most of us like to make sure we have enough retirement and Social Security coming in to handle our daily living, such as making mortgage payments, car payments, food budget, and all that kind of stuff. But we all need a little, we just don't want to exist. We want to be able to travel, want to be able to give away some money, all that kind of stuff. And we want to ensure ourselves we can do that. So that's what this is all about. So let's suppose someone's getting ready to retire in 2019. They think they probably want to have enough money to withdraw in order to eat out and give money to the kids and travel and have fun. That's what life's all about. So let's suppose someone's got a $4 million saved up in an account, and they want to withdraw. They want to have $2,000 a month play money. Let's see how far that'll go. Well, we see over here, you'll be broke in 2035 going that way, which will probably be long enough for a guy like me who has genetics where we don't live that long. But someone like my wife, who's got a mother that's 92, wouldn't be enough. So we come back and we play this some more. Let's cut that down to $1,800 a month. Better keep working because it'll be broken in 2048. Although that's awful close. So you come back to your wife and say, "Oh, honey, can we cut that down to $1,700 a month?" Because, and I'm still not going to quite cut it. So I try $1,500 a month. 2049. That's 98, honey. Isn't that close enough? No, I want to make sure I have enough till I'm 100 years old. So we come back to $1,400 a month. We'd make it. We'd make it. There'd still be $86,000 in our account, but drawing $1,400 a month would make 6% over the long haul. And surely you'll have my return on that. I mean, that's quite a bit of play money for normal, ordinary Joes like us. And that's how this all works. And you can actually view the amortization table if you wish. Clicking over here. And it shows you how your account's behaving year by year. And that's all there is to this sheet. Now we're going to talk about how our investments are really performing. And notice I have really in caps there. And this is the hardest app I had to write. And I'll show you why here. I'm not going to change any values here. I'm just going to leave it for example. But it works like the rest of them. We've got the green cells here. We enter our information in. And what we have is an account that I opened up in 2010 from my parents' inheritance, part of it. And this was dedicated just for gift money for birthdays and such things. And it started in 2010. And I want to check its performance in 2018. And the initial investment was $30,000. And the last return in 2018 I got from our brokerage firm was $60,000. So we want to come in here to see how it's really performing. So we click here to compute. And like I say, I'm not going to change any of this because, and you make your entries. First thing you want to do is clear out everything underneath, because you don't want any bogus information. And the way you do that is it control shift down until you get to the bottom of the sheet, delete everything, and then you're just left here. You don't want to give yourself too much credit. Now then, what we want to do is compute the account's interest rate. And this is all guesstimation. But notice you almost have to have a spreadsheet to perform this task because it keeps track of the principal balance after you make your withdrawals, just like monthly payments. So if you take out a whole lot here, these numbers are really going to change. And this method is pretty daggone accurate. So you click the compute accounts interest gain, and this is trial and error. And we have a script. It's actually performing this arithmetic operation. And it's very computer intensive, but it came back with a number. And 13.47% is what that account has averaged from 2010 on a $30,000 investment to what it's worth now. And you'll notice down here I got some more green cells you can link with. And I personally set this up for us because you notice the way this has turned out we'd given away all our money market cash. So this year, starting 2019, we were going to have to replenish our money market account by selling stocks or actually putting some cash from another fund. And luckily, we had a bond that was called early and had an extra $19,000 pop into this money market account. So we may be good. It looks like if this keeps performing like it has since 2010, we won't have to worry about it. There'll be plenty here for the kids for quite some time. And that's all there is. And these, you can make any entries you want. Won't hurt the sheet at all. You can put a bunch of junk like that in and get away with it. But if you try to enter in anywhere else, outside those green cells, you'll get that heads up. And anytime you see heads up, it's cancel, 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 cancel. And if you accidentally hit OK, make sure you press Control Z to take that out and restore what was there to begin with. And that's all because of these hairy formulas. You don't want to have to re-download the sheet and go through the whole ordeal you've already been through. And that's all there is to it. The next function of this sheet we're going to talk about, or the function we're talking about now, is how much will you need to save per month in order to achieve your savings goal. And again, this is for young people. An old guy like me, my time has passed. But I wish this function would have been around when I was a young man. So what we do is scroll down to that. There it is. How much will you need to save per month to achieve your savings goal? And you young folks now are going to save an awful lot more money than what I did as an old man. So we're going to assume you have $100,000 into 401k. And you want to retire in 2041. So we're going to start this savings in January 2019. And notice these date formats have to be year-date formats, like I've shown here. And the end savings date is going to be, you're going to retire in 2041. And you will need $1 million, no doubt about it, in 2041 to have enough money to enjoy yourself after you retire. And we're going to assume that you can probably make 6% over the long haul. And let me change something here. We'll make this 2 just show you how long this takes. And I'm not talking about my typing either. And you see how long that takes to react. So now I'm going to take it back to 12019. And I'm going to hit the arrow right key. And we're going to wait to see those numbers change. So in order for you to achieve your savings goal over this period of time, you'll have to save a little over $1,000 a month. And, I wish I'd have had this when I was a young man. And here, I click the amortization table and then the initial investment, $100,000. And this takes you down month by month. And your account's actually performing. And this is one of those tables that's extremely long to navigate up and down. So I've got you this little orange button moved to top. And the way that works, you just click any cell and click that button. And it takes you right back to the top, where you can see this return to main sheet button. And that's all there is to this. And again, our buttons are scrambled around, so we refresh the screen. And that's Linux and Windows, that's the F5 key. And it puts our buttons back in the right place. There they are. And that's just SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Well, I've got to chop this video up a little bit. And notice that information is stored here until you change it. So we come back down here to the how much will you need save per month to achieve your savings goal. And there it is right there. And that'll stay the same until you actually change these figures. The last function that this sheet performs is the loan calculator. And these are the instructions on how to operate it. So we scroll down here to the very bottom, and our loan calculator is down here. And I'll show you how to do this. Say I'm going to buy a new car. One 2019. And car's gone up a little bit, so I'm going to spend a little more money this time. And I'm going to take a 60-month loan. And I'm trying to decide whether to take Subaru's rebate program, $3,000 rebate, or take a 3% loan out and take the money up front. Take the rebate money up front. So we're going to run this calculation. Notice it takes just a little while for it to calculate, and now it's finally done. And there's my monthly payment for the car over 60 months. And there's the interest I'll pay. Now watch how this changes if I find a 2% loan. And there it is. And that's a big difference in the monthly payment. And back in the old days when I was buying Chevettes in 1981, interest rates were earning 13%. And look at what I'd have had to pay a month for my Subaru if interest rates are that way now. So that's interesting. Those are the kind of numbers you can play with. Well, let's take this back to 2%. And always make sure the percent's the end. If you don't see a percent, type it in. Most of the time it seems to keep it there, but there are times it gets overwritten for whatever reason. Just make sure you always see the percent sign after the 2. And here we go. So I found a 2% home equity loan, and Subaru's offering a $3,000 rebate. I'm going to take the rebate and finance it through a home equity loan. And that's how you do that. And this really is just a little more complicated than you might think, because you get this rebate money up front, and you can throw that in some stocks, and they may be performing up to 14% a year. So you've got all kinds of calculations you make with the other tools up above to see if you want to take a rebate or take the loan. And in my typical fashion, I got an amortization table for you can print out. And boy, my buttons are in the wrong place. See if I put them in the right place, and it did. Anytime you see the button screwed around, just press the F5 key. Standard Operating Procedure. And it shows the amortization table. And again, these can get kind of lengthy, so you can just click any cell and click the move to top page and take you back to the top. And so we go back to the main page. And again, like all the others, this information is stored in the main page here for your reference if you want to go back and look at it again. And that's all there is to the loan calculator.